Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart. And, well, can you believe that it's, what is it now, June? When did that happen? June 2026. It's like, no, we're still in 25. Anyway, it just feels like the time is shifting dramatically.
We're almost at the most daylight in the whole year again. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's still cold out at night.
Our weather's so weird.
I still work in the restaurant industry. I'd be freaking. What do you mean we're almost at the longest day of the year?
And for those who do not recognize the voice, it is the awesome Tracy McBurney.
Sorry that I cut it.
That's great.
My Brenda Vaccaro voice today.
Well, yes, that too. Yeah. So we're going to start off with a story about what happened to me this week. Well, last week and this week, which is just
got government bombed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So this is my situation. Census came this year. Everybody knows it that's in Canada. We get census. We're all supposed to complete it. Around the date when everything was supposed to be coming in, my partner said, well, did you fill out your census? I went, I never got one. He goes, well, I did. He's like, can you help me fill it out? I said, of course I can. He goes, but I said, if you don't and you say you never got it, it's not really your fault, right? So I was going to go with, well, I never got it. And I didn't get it. But then I kind of, do my civil duty. And I went onto the website, said I never got one, and created a new account. Thankfully got to do a short one because they don't care when you're doing it yourself and you're volunteering. And so I filled it out, completed it, took a screenshot just to confirm that I had it done just in case. And and then later, a little bit later, like maybe a few days, I heard from my landlady and she said, oh, what's your date of birth? And I kind of went, well, you kind of have that on my application, but whatever. I went to tell her, she goes, oh, it's for census. And I went, oh, right. Because it's a house. So
right.
There's only 2 units and one of the units is their daughter. So there's really only one other occupant, which is me. And so of course she probably filled it out every year. But I said, oh, I already filled it out. She goes, you did it online? I went, yes. She goes, oh, okay, thank you. And that was the end of that conversation. But then I got a letter from them that said final notice. And I went, final notice? You didn't give me the first notice. How can it be in final notice? And I'm looking at it going, final notice. And then I looked at the address and I went, oops. So I thought, you know what? There's an error in there. Why don't I be the good Samaritan, give them a call, let them know there was an error, let them know I've completed it. And thinking that was the right thing to do. And then get on the phone with somebody who was not the right person to talk to. I probably should ask for somebody else. Was
it a real person or an AI voice?
Well, originally they wanted to do it all with the AI. And I said, no, I would like to speak to a person. So I did. I had to wait. Then I spoke to a person and and I said, okay, I just want to let you know I've already completed the census. This is my number. She didn't take it. I'm like, okay. She goes, what's your, is it 16-digit number that you were given on your letter? And I said, okay, well, that's this. And she goes, okay. She goes, so number 3, is it yes or no? And I went, I don't know if you know this, but I'm calling on a phone and I don't actually have access to what the questions are. So I have no idea what would question number 3 be to say yes or no. She goes, oh, well, it's about whether the address is correct. And I said, well, that is why I'm calling, was the address is incorrect. And then she proceeded to say, well, you have to complete the form. And I went, so I was told that you can't actually do 2 censuses, that you can only do 1 because I'm only one person. She goes, no, well, you have to do this one because it has a 16-digit number and you need to fill it out. And I went, okay, no, I'm not going to do that because I've already done it. And I gave the number again, knowing full well that she wasn't listening. And she just kept saying yes. And then I hung up because I was like, no, I'm not completing this again. Unfortunately, that then escalated to the next business day, which was Monday. And then today, having them come in person. Of course, my landlady either didn't answer the phone or didn't answer the door on purpose, which is possibly why, but they kept leaving me something. So I did send them off a note saying, please stop harassing me. But as we were talking about it, what I said was, here I am thinking I'm going above and beyond, thinking that I should get thanked, and I'm being punished. So this is where we came to the spot about filters and denial. And so we're going to discuss that aspect, but
we're just going to discuss your filtering of the experience. Now, we're going to laugh about it because, first of all, I think it sounds like just an exhausting experience, and I would not be happy to have it. So I hold your hand in the experience and go, Gah! But I would have probably had different words, and I probably would have had a negative reaction, and I would never probably have chosen punished.
Right.
But that would have hit somewhere else for me. So my point would be, it hits at our unhealed wounding within us.
Right.
So just the fact that you farmed it that way, you saw it that way, you filtered the whole experience that way. So then we were having a discussion before we got on this call that I kind of laughed because I didn't actually know what today was going to look like. And it was just interesting that you brought that up, because I was going, that's about the only thing that's been around me all month that's been a little troubling and mostly annoying.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's just like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting better at not really feeling like I have to fix this for somebody or even talk to somebody about it. But it's just like, you just kind of like, oh, somebody's filtering their experience in their own way, and it's skewed, and you know it, and they're suffering as a result of it, and it just means that we're not connecting the way we could. And so then it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to go off over here and do whatever. So it's been one of those months. So right. I thought it was interesting that you started with this. So I just thought, well, let's talk about filtering. Let's talk about unhealed stuff that finds its way, bubbles its way into our work life, our home life, our friendship life, our grocery store life, wherever it is, we can get triggered anywhere.
Right.
So the concept being, when I'm triggered, you're triggered into some sort of emotional reaction that, just like you're having a lovely day until X happens, and then happens again, and then, and how you take that in and how you farm it. So the minute that you say to yourself, and then I'm punished.
Right.
So I like Dr. Joe Dispenza for this. Like, he's done a lot of writing about this. He didn't invent the concept. He's just been really good at helping people to understand the human psychology of, you have a thought, and with every thought, there is a feeling. Right? And then there's another thought, until you can stop the process of thinking, feeling, and just breathe and just stop. Like, just stop it all.
Right.
But that's kind of where we are as humans. So you kind of have that moment, which was frustrating, I'm sure, and then frustrating again, and then whatever. But then you have this thought that I wanted to be rewarded. I wanted, whatever the positive thing was that you wanted, you got punished instead.
Mm-hmm.
So your statement, I got punished. So what's the feeling after the thought, and then I get punished?
After feeling that I got punished?
Yeah. So that's how you took it in. You thought it. I wanted this positive experience, whatever that was. And I got, I wanted to be rewarded. I wanted to be thanked, blah, blah, blah. And you didn't get that. You got punished.
Right.
So then what's the feeling after you design it as, I got punished?
I was frustrated.
Okay. So it's more frustration, right? So you're frustrated in
Went
this.
from frustrated to angry because it's like,
right.
really? I went and spent the time, my time wasted on a phone to express and let you know that the address was incorrect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then your frustration and then your anger.
Right.
And then what's the next thought? Like if you go back to that moment. So after I have the, and then I'm punished, and you're doing this all on your own. Like you're not even sharing this with anybody at that point.
Right.
So I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and then what's the next thought?
Why do I have to do this all on my own? Why do I always have to do this? Why do I always have to fix things?
Right. And then what's the feeling with that? Why do I always have to fix things? Why am I always doing these things on my own?
Overwhelm.
Okay. Is there anything else that's coming as a feeling? Don't look. I love your head, but I love your head. I love that brain, but I'd rather come down to heart.
Okay. Right.
We'll get the deepest truths when we come down to heart. We'll get the greatest, deepest rememberings of these things when we come down to heart. So then you have the thought, you know what? I am always doing these things on my own. And the feeling that comes after
that. I guess just a deep, profound sadness of.
Because I didn't think it was overwhelm.
Okay.
I felt the sadness. When you said overwhelm, I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I was still in your sadness. I could feel the sadness.
Right.
And so the sadness is still there. And where can you feel the sadness in your body?
So kind of chest and gut.
Okay. So everywhere that your hand just went,
right,
there are cells. And then there are spaces in between and spaces in between those spaces to infinitum. And they're holding that sadness. And the water inside of you, the water intelligence is holding that sadness. Do you see pictures in your head?
Sometimes.
All right, well, let's see. Let's see if the water intelligence can flash you a picture as it's holding the sadness from that time, going way back. How did that change the water in you? Let it show you a picture. What's going on with the water now that it's holding that sadness for you like a dutiful soldier?
I'm not really getting a picture. I've got more feeling, more depth to it. There seems to be a color associated with it.
Okay.
Which is yellow, which usually yellow is cheery, but in this case not.
Okay.
But it's like when you said what's holding the water, like the water just feels kind of, it's not dead, maybe stagnant.
Okay. And if the water weren't holding the sadness, if it was free again to flow without that sadness, what would it look like? And what would be its color? Would it even have a color? What would it look like if it wasn't holding that sadness?
What I got was a waterfall.
Okay.
So that time I got a picture.
Okay.
So blue, frothy, flowing, moving.
Right. So that time in your history is over. Except for you, it's not over.
Right.
And it's still being held in the water. And it's still being held by every single one of those cells. So that's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of cells. And from where your hands went, it must be impacting heart, down into the digestive system. So maybe impacting liver, maybe impacting.
Even like my lungs, chest.
Lungs, chest, breasts, right? All those cells.
Right.
Skin, whatever. So it's just really interesting to take it to that level.
Mm-hmm.
So body talk. So one of the courses that I did all 9 modules, they're very good about the concept of really speaking about this. Body talking, body communicating, cells communicating to each other, organs being able to communicate well to each other, the brain being able to communicate well with all the organs of the body, the heart brain being able to communicate everywhere, everything being able to talk. Everything's happy when it can communicate well within itself, and when it can communicate well with the things that it's supposed to be communicating with. It's happy. So the fact that this is going on and that sadness has been held for all those years, not just from this experience, this is just a repeating performance. This is just reminding you that the filters are still there. So you're re-experiencing something with the same kind of feelings, and you can access them.
Right. I did get a memory of what I felt where I was punished.
Okay, and where was that? How old are you?
Very young. I was probably, well, we moved when I was in grade 2, so it was probably when I was grade 1 or kindergarten. And I was walking home with a friend, and my mom, who was the crossing guard, wasn't there. And so the friend said, well, why don't you come? Because I would have sat on the porch at that point if waiting for my mom, because I didn't have access to getting in. So she said, well, why don't you come to my house? The house was not very far away. Now, what I didn't realize, obviously, at the time was we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have anything to communicate. She had no idea where I was. And she probably freaked very, very badly because she came home and her youngest daughter was not there. Understandable. We didn't even have a message system anywhere at that time. So it's not like we could have left a voicemail or anything on an answering machine. Those weren't made yet. So yeah, I can totally understand why she was upset. So she freaked out. It was probably the only time she took a spoon to me. Bare butt spoon, wooden. But what happened after was what bothered me the most. I was still crying when my dad came home, and he wanted to know what was wrong. And I was crying so hard I couldn't explain it, because I knew part of it was my fault, obviously at the time, not realizing it as much. But then anyway, he got so upset because I couldn't explain it. He then also spanked me. I'm like, oh, seriously? So anyway, yeah, that was the memory that it came up. That was me being punished for not being able to speak up and say what was going on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing, because now you did speak up. You did speak up. You did make the call. You did take the time to make the call to the authority figure to say, hey, the address is wrong, blah, 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 blah. Then you end up with all the bullshit. Then you end up with all of the crazy town of whatever that was about. But it's interesting that you
feel so honest.
Learned from that. And you went, I have to speak up. It's better for me to speak up.
Right. Well, that brings other situations up too as well, because I probably learned after that to speak up more, and then I would still get punished. Yeah. But yeah, right. Government job. I used to do that. So yeah, I've had lots of experience where I've spoken up and also they didn't like what I said. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I would imagine maybe with the speaking up, which is a throat chakra piece, it's kind of like, from what you're telling me, damned if I do and damned if I don't.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter which way this lands, I'm still going to get punished.
Yeah, I could see that.
So what I've said out loud in my office for many years, there's no healing as I see it that ever occurs without cooperation from ego.
Right.
And I'll go one step farther to say without cooperation for what I'm going to call the survival minds.
Right.
The first one showing up as the judge. And then the judge will wake up the controller, the victim, the avoider, the overachiever, the procrastinator, wake up whatever amount of these survival minds are going to come out to play to keep somebody safe.
Right.
And yeah, I'm going to say that out loud. It's an interesting piece, mindset. Mm-hmm. You know, are you in the right mindset to do this work? Right. Are you in the right like the set of minds that we can be in to step into something, to do something, to bring healing to something. And to me, it's like we need cooperation from a portion of the set of minds, but really the only thing that I see as a mind that really has anything to do with healing is what I'm just going to call that divine mind. That access to our sage self.
Right.
So that's an unfortunate thing that you told me. Like, I don't want to walk away and discount it. That's kind of yucky. What did your mother want from you that day that she didn't get? What did she expect to have happened when these circumstances? What choice did she want you to have made?
Sit on the porch and wait for her.
And that would have been sit on the porch alone?
Yep. I don't know where my sister would have been. She was older, so she's still in the same grade, or was she still? If I was in, yeah, she would have still been in the same school. So she would have come home. I don't know. She may have had something after school. I don't know, but she wasn't there either. So yeah, nobody was there.
Was it normal? Were there lots of times that you sat on the porch waiting for your mom?
No, because my mom was the crossing guard.
Crossing guard. And so remind me of where she was that day.
I think she had a doctor's appointment, or I think it was a doctor's appointment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think she planned on not being there because there was no crossing guard there that day. So usually if you're not there and then they'll get somebody else to be there. I don't think she felt it was going to go over the time. If she had, she probably would have told me, when you get home, I'm not going to be there. Please just wait on the porch until your sister gets home or whatever. Yeah.
Were you concerned about her when she wasn't at the crosswalk?
I might have been at the time, and I was walking with friends, which I don't know that I usually did. They were kind of new friends, but they were really close. Oh, I remember. There was a new girl, and she was close to this other girl, and I really liked the new girl. So I was walking home with them, and it was the other girl that said, well, why don't you come to my place? Because everybody was like, where's your mom? She's not here. So yeah. And I was excited because like, oh, new friends.
Yeah. Yeah, so that kind of corrupts several things.
Right.
Potentially. Making of new friends and just some interesting things might have been shadowed at that time. Well, one of the things that I wouldn't have known at that age or even all the way into my teenagehood, underneath anger is always fear.
Yeah, always.
And I
was terrified because, I mean, how would you think if you came home and your 6-year-old daughter wasn't sitting there waiting for you? I mean, she was terrified because she wouldn't have even known where to look. As much as this girl, I had known her, I don't know that I'd ever gone to her house before. Like how my mom found me, but she did find me. And it probably was a lot later. That she was the reason that I wanted to get an easy bake oven because she had an easy bake oven and was making little cakes, and we never got any type of sugar when we were kids. Like mom was like, no sugar for you guys. In the summer we were fine because we were at Savo. We had money. We could go to the stupid candy store and get a big bag of whatever. It was like 5 cents or 10 cents. But anyway, we never had sugar. So here I was with a friend that I hadn't really ever hung out with because I was young anyway. And she was using her easy bake oven and making little cakes. I was so excited. It really was excited.
Yeah. And so excitement, joyful, happy. And then within hours of that, you're getting spanked.
Right.
Twice.
Yes.
Did your mom ever say to you, if I'm ever not at the crosswalk, if I'm ever not home, that, you just have to wait on the porch? Did she ever set that up for you as what you're supposed to do?
I don't think so, because she was just always there. Like I can't remember times when that was like the first time I ever came home and she wasn't at the crosswalk. So, I mean, I knew that was what she expected, but I don't know if she ever set it up to say, if I'm never here, please just sit there and wait. Because like I said, if she hadn't known, I really don't think she knew that she was going to be this late. So I don't know if she was at the hospital getting some tests done or what it was exactly, or maybe it was not something as important as that. Maybe she overreacted because she felt she should have been home. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. So if you come down to heart again, what did you want from your mother that day that you didn't get? Let it come up into your head, not letting your head kind of come up with the answer.
Well, the first thing I thought, because I was so happy and excited, it was like, look, Mom, I have a new friend, right? Because most of my friends were my sister's friends because she was older, and she would always, my mom always made my sister responsible for me because she was 3 years older. So usually when my sister went out, I would follow, which she hated, and who would want that anyway? But so it's like, ooh, I met a new friend. Isn't this exciting? I can come, and I never got to go back.
Right. So you wanted to be able to share that with your mom.
Yeah.
Share that excitement, share that joy, share that idea of having a new friend, and you got punished instead.
Again, totally understandable.
But that's you now.
Oh, yes, of course. Not then.
You're still holding on to this, which means the ego, the survival minds have a very different idea than, oh, this is totally understandable, because you're still holding on to it.
Right. If it was completely understandable, then I would have let it go. Yep.
Right. So the judge is holding on to it. The ego's holding on to it. Some portion of you is holding on to it. Some mindset, one or more, is holding on to it. And a lot of times I'll kind of side with ego in the sense that ego doesn't like to be wronged. Ego doesn't like to one's reputation restored, doesn't like to be called out, doesn't like to be humiliated, doesn't like to be put down, doesn't like to be misunderstood. Wants credibility restored, wants fairness restored, wants things to be righted, wants injustices to be righted. So your ego might have considered this to be a bit of an injustice or a lot of an injustice.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so what I'd say, if you're in my office, it's hard. I can't look you eye to eye so much because even in the Zoom, doesn't work so well. But to say to your ego, the eyes are the window of the soul. The eyes are also the window for the ego. So saying right now, through connection to your eyes, I want to have connection to your ego. Like almost like ego, come step forward. Because I want to speak to that portion of you to say, I have no desire to hurt you, harm you, destroy you, or judge you. And first I'm going to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this landed the way it landed. And thank you for receiving that. It was authentic. I could see your breathing shift.
Yeah.
There's an authentic, I'm sorry. I would have liked this all to have landed differently for you myself. So then I say to your ego, and I say to the survival minds, because I'm sure the judge is standing right there with you, maybe the controller. Mm-hmm. No healing really happens without cooperation from these places, without a willingness to allow for what I'm going to call that sage self, that divine you, that higher power within, to take hold, to guide, to be with this circumstance.
Definitely hurt my heart, because my heart's kind of, everything else is kind of settled, but my heart is still feeling like there's a spot. It's like,
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that, because I'm sure your mother didn't want to hurt your heart. And I'm sure she was very afraid and very upset and probably very troubled about what's happened to you, maybe angry at herself that she had navigated that better, but she certainly wasn't sharing that with you.
I think it hurt coming from my dad more than it did my mom. Because he's the one that always sort of was there for me. And he was trying to be there for me, but then I just couldn't talk.
So then were you angry at yourself that you couldn't kind of find your way to calm down to be able to talk to him?
He never actually ever got upset like he did. But he came in so compassionate and understanding and trying to figure out what happened. But then when I couldn't talk, I never had before nor after ever experienced him sort of losing his patience or his...
He's cool.
Yeah.
So if you come down to heart, that light within heart place, that light within heart has access to that divinity. If that's challenging for you because there's so much going on at heart, you can come down even farther to what I'm going to call the Dantian point, which is below your navel by 2 widths of fingers. So your index finger and your third finger, if you drop them to just as your navel is ending, then just there, below those 2 fingers, is what I'm going to call that place where the Dantian is. So that gives you an opportunity for direct access to that divine within you. It also just gives you access to that really just calm, safe place of connectedness. And are you feeling a little safer and a little calmer now?
Yes, definitely. I even had a burp.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're here with that time. And I know maybe what you're telling me is it felt like, it's going to be your words, you can't trust him. It felt like you'd lost him. It felt like you couldn't count on him anymore. What if you come down here with your perception of his triggered moment?
No, I blame it on me. It's I wasn't enough to, I disappointed him.
Can we allow for a divine hug to come in to the you of that age? So can you say yes to rebalancing and healing coming in for that child of you?
Yes.
You didn't mean to disappoint him. And I think you've spent a good amount of years working out and figuring out how to calm down, how to center yourself, how to find your words, how to find your right place. So you've learned how to access that skill set, how to use that skill set, how to be better at that. But all that learning and all that growing, and it still hasn't come back here. So the question being, can you love and forgive yourself for what you could not find your way to do neurologically on that day?
Yes.
What does that feel like now at heart?
A lot freer. There's still a little bit there that's saying, but a lot better. A lot. It just, everything else feels really, really calm. And I'm not sure if this is something that I developed afterwards, before, during, or something else completely. And just feeling some sort of, it's almost like a pull, like a.
Can you allow a divine hug to be brought in to what you're calling the pole?
Yes, please.
Can you allow divine compassion coming in from the heart of the universe to come down to that place that you're calling the pole? Divine compassion coming down from the heart of the universe is a very interesting thing to say yes to. It's like you're saying yes to a healing technology.
Yeah, as soon as you said it, it just whoop.
It will not stop. That
Right.
healing technology will not stop until that place that's where you called the pole has been brought back into connection with that love, with that light, and been brought into pure peace. So if that takes minutes, it's great. If it takes hours, okay. If it takes days, it's just going to keep being there.
It was an immediate whoosh. So it's definitely doing whatever it's meant to be doing.
It was the rats that taught me about divine compassion coming in from the heart of the universe.
Really?
They said divine compassion was a greater tunneler than they were.
Wow.
But divine compassion didn't operate the same way that they did. They didn't have any interest in filling in their tunnels the way divine compassion does. It was a fascinating thing to learn from them.
Mm-hmm. I had to stretch out my neck. It was like,
Yeah, no.
Like, and it had good crack too. It's like,
yeah, okay. No, dude. Like all this stuff does impact the physiology, right? It does.
Yeah.
All right. So how does that feel?
Much better. Much better.
Okay. And if we look to the water intelligence, as you shut your eyes, we just look to that water intelligence to show you how things are now. Might show it to you in color, might show it to you in picture.
It's flowing. It's not yellow and stagnant. It's kind of, it's not okay. A waterfall.
That's fine. So now let's also recognize time. So past, present, and future all being one. Let's just have your intention of skipping now into 24 hours into the future. So 24 hours into the future, you're just stepping into it now. Mm-hmm. We're just with the water. What's going on with the water 24 hours into the future?
It's funny. It's almost a contradiction, but it's flowing really nicely, but it's also calm. So you can see some sort of movement, but a calm kind of energy, if that makes sense.
Okay. So that feels calm to you. Yes. It feels good. It feels positive.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
And that pull seems to be almost entirely gone now. So.
Okay. So interesting. 72 hours into the future. So if we literally step 72 hours into the future, because we've got that divine compassion with you for as long as it's going to be with you. So 72 hours into the future, what's going on with the water?
Yeah, it's now calm in a nice blue calm.
Okay. And you consider that to be positive?
I did, yes.
Yeah. No, because it's all about feeling, right?
Right.
And that pole, is that pole still there?
No.
No. Okay, nice. And if we look at you and your father,
Okay.
just bringing forward him. How does that feel to be in the presence of him?
Oh, I've always adored him, so it feels very nice.
And it feels good to be you
Yeah.
in the presence of him?
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like that time in your life now has passed?
Yes.
So this will be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
For divine knowing. So I'm going to ask, have you received all the divine knowings that could have been received from that time in your history? Maybe from this relationship with your dad, from this relationship with your mom. Have you received all of the divine knowings? And I'm getting a no.
Yeah.
So are there more divine knowings that could come in, almost like helium balloons, that they could literally come in and enter in and be embodied within you now? And I'm getting a yes to that. So how many divine knowings are there to be known? The helium balloons have not been grabbed onto yet and brought down, so to speak. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So the unconscious mind is an ever-expanding mind. It's like the universe. So will you please just make space? Just the choice to make space. It's an ever-expanding mind that I choose to make space in that mind for those divine knowings to come down, to enter, to be integrated, to be embodied, to be known by me in this body. And I'm doing that now. That's a very interesting exercise.
Mm-hmm.
You did that very easily. You just followed that direction very easily. I could just feel the widening of space and then just the bringing that down. And so I didn't have any conscious idea of what was coming in.
Me either. But
what I also know is that as we allow for these things, sometimes what you'll find is you'll have kind of aha moments. It's almost like something that's now in the unconscious, that is now known and embedded and part of your world, that just like you're minding your own business, and a week from now, 10 days from now, it just rises, like something just rises, comes right out of your mouth. I'm just like, oh, how do I know that? It's like, I call them eureka moments. And and so that could actually happen. That could actually occur from what you've just done.
Cool.
Where it's almost like it almost gets burped into the conscious. But it's nice. It's since 95% of our day is governed by what is known and what is embedded at the unconscious level. I think that seems like a pretty nice thing to do, is bring forward more divine knowings. They could have been known, but never got known.
Right.
Because the experience got contaminated, judged, and almost like interfered with.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah. So then we look at this and we go, all right, well, we got here because of government craziness. You know, I don't know what you call it, just nuttiness, like poor organization, things not being well done, whatever it was. But we got here as a result of that.
Right. How brilliant is that?
Yeah. So what was one of my earliest mentors was actually Candace Blakely, surprisingly enough. So she's the person that brings forward all of the cool beginning information around denial. She also was the person that said, you have not finished healing something until you have nothing but gratitude in your heart. For everybody who's hit you, bitten you, smited you, punched you, offended you, blah, 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 blah. She had a whole list. which was basically, she was saying, as long as you're sitting in some form of judgment, not recognizing the darkness and the light working to one end, when you get the judge out of the way. And, we're here at this point. We are potentially here at this point.
Right.
Can you look at, you never met this person who was on the other end of that phone, but can you actually now look and say, thank you? Thank you. This whole altercation that happened through you landed me in something pretty profound.
Yeah.
And I got to reclaim something, make something better, clear something up, get water flowing. Can you say thank you to that person?
I can.
Yeah. And it's an authentic thank you.
Yeah.
Like a from heart thank you.
Yes.
Like your monkey business and my reaction to your monkey business and how I took that in and how that got filtered and me stopping and recognizing the filter and not wanting to filter my life in from that same way. Not wanting to just add more frustration to and anger to the frustration and anger that I was already feeling from our altercation. Me just wanting a nicer life than that got me here.
Ironic in some ways, because it's just, it was a simple little thing, but I took it the way I took it because that was still part of my filter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was great. Thank you for thank you for walking the path of this month, where most of the people that I've been around have been not even interested in a dialogue like this.
Wow.
Because life has been too overwhelming, I think.
Has been kind of strange lately, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. So great show. Always great for me. And always
I love it.
You.
Thank you for that contribution. That was perfect.
All right. We'll be back next month. Thanks, Trace.
All right. Bye.